everyone. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend and excited. I know everyone's excited this week to be going into the Bedlam game here with Oklahoma State. No game to go back and review. We've already did that. Don't want to review everybody's weekend for Thanksgiving, but we'll start into just the excitement for this game. Compliments to Coach Gundy, the Oklahoma State staff and team. They really playing excellent football. They've had a great year, overcome the adversity of the one game early in the year to go on the run that they have. Shows a lot of mental toughness and again, just a really good team talent-wise, and again, very well coached. So we're excited, to be hosting the game here. With our crowd, the last game of the season, hopefully they'll be loud and participate, even though it's at 11:30 a.m. And really excited about it. Here we are, back-to-back years here in the last regular season game to be competing for the Big 12 championship once again. I feel like we got a good start last week, Sunday through Wednesday, in the way we prepared. And the players got a little break. I felt this year, the way things have gone, it was needed, just with the overall injury situations and the health of our guys. I feel they'll be rejuvenated and really ready for a great week of practice when they show up this afternoon. And playing Oklahoma State, offensively, they got a bunch of great weapons. Begins with their quarterback. Rudolph does an excellent job throwing and occasionally running it. Got a really good back that's had a really good year in Hill. And then all the receivers, McCleskey, Washington, on and on, Lacey, they're really a big group of receivers that really all of them make plays. They stretch out, similar to us in that the run and the pass and a good quarterback, all of it together. They've done a really good job. Defensively, they do an excellent job, very sound fundamentally. They give you both fronts, a four-man front and an odd front, a little bit of both, mostly, a four-man front. TCU, they were primarily a three-man front, so we work both all the time. Our offense goes against us in the three-man front quite a bit, so we see both through the year. But very, very structurally sound, a lot of good players. Really love their safety and D-tackle, the way they've played. They've really had great years. Stearns and Taylor, I believe it is, and just really good players, but they got good players all around, and really believe they do an excellent job. I believe they're one in the league in turnover margin. That's a major factor in every game. It'll be a big factor in our game, here this week. That's always a big part of it. So anyway, those are just some particulars in regard to it, and I'll open it up for questions.
In recent years, Bob, this game has been the one that's decided the Big 12 championship. Next year you got the championship game. Would you like to see this game move so you don't have a possibility of a back-to-back?
I think it's worth considering, and I'm sure our leaders will look at that. I'm pretty big on stick to my job, and that's coaching. I've got a great athletic director as Oklahoma State does, and great presidents to look at that, and the league commissioner to look at the league and what's best for it. It is, ironic here last year and this year we're in the last game playing Oklahoma State again for the championship, and just like a year ago, we would have played again the following week. So, that scenario is worth looking at, and I'm sure they will, but I'm going to stick to coaching.
How's Jordan Evans, and is there any question about him being able to play?
I'm sure there'll be a question, but right now he rested all last week, and he's scheduled to do some things today, and I'm fairly confident by the end of the week he'll be ready to play.
Oklahoma State's run game's kind of had a resurgence the last couple of weeks. Do you see anything particular?
Yeah, a big resurgence, and for sure the last game, over 300 yards. They ran it really well, a couple 100-yard rushers. So, they did a great job executing it. So anyway, they're doing a really good job executing the run game.
Rudolph didn't play much last year, but this year he's been on a pretty good roll. Talk about his maturity.
Yeah, he's an excellent quarterback. Got a great arm, big, strong guy. Excellent reads, and does a really good job directing their offense.
What do you make of what's going on down in Texas this week? They did hire a coach after firing Charlie Strong.
Again, just much like I said a week ago, I really try and stick to what pertains to us, but I've got great respect for Charlie. I'm sure he'll do well and whatever he decides to do, and Coach Herman, same thing. Got great respect for what he's done and his track record. So I'm sure he'll do a good great job.
Is he a guy that at his age and experience level won a national championship as a coordinator, can come in and maybe give something to the conference as a head coach?
I'm sure he can.
Looking forward to competing against that.
Sure, always.
Bob, I've asked you this before, but just the way the team's really kept that week-to-week mentality to get to where they're at now. They did this last year, and they did it again this year. Just pleased with the maturity and how they did this?
Yeah, just pleased with our overall, the way we've improved through the year. And, young, inexperienced guys have gotten now more experience and have played better. So, I'm pleased at just the way they've methodically worked through the year.
One person we didn't ask about was Will Johnson. Didn't play last week. Is there any update as to what's going on with
No, we'll see here this week. But right now I would not expect them to play unless something changes.
What about Micaiah? How's he coming along?
Micaiah's coming along, but he is no longer going to be with us.
Is he rehabbing here? You say he's coming along.
Well, he had been coming along, but he's not with the team. But he's still, while he finishes the semester, welcome to rehab. Yeah. Team rules. Yeah, usual.
What kind of growth have you seen from Mike Yursich during the last few years, especially the offense at Oklahoma State this year?
Well, it's hard. They've done a really good job of executing, taking care of the football. This year, what's obvious is the run game, this year and the last several weeks has been, a prominent part to go with their great throwing game. So that's probably, something that's real noticeable to everybody.
Pardon me if I'm a little slow, but Mekhi Quick is no longer with the team.
Right. So let's move on we got a big game here. Okay. Geez, Dean, that was pretty simple to get. It must have been on your phone.
Ready to go jogging.
What about Roma? How else is he?
He's fine. He practiced all last week and doing well.
Last year, everyone wondered who's going to replace Sterling, and of course, you had the answer in Dede. Just impressed with the way Dede really accepted that role. Now you're looking back and what he's done this year.
Yeah, just really proud of Dede overall. Just his maturity, his leadership. He's become a really mature, good, great leader for those other receivers. Plays hard, and just so competitive in how he challenges for the football, and how it's hard to overthrow him. And he seems to, and it's hard to overthrow him. He finds a way to get to the football.
That relationship he's really built with Baker, that takes a lot of work to get off-season work and practice right to get that rapport.
Yeah, but Baker works with all those guys, and they all work hard, and it's just great to see that connection the way it's produced so many big plays.
Bob, all the years I've covered you, I don't ever recall a season going by where so many guys left the team for one reason or another. Is there a common thread or something you can put your finger on why this keeps happening? Every week it seems like you're breaking.
Disciplinary issues. One guy said he didn't want to, wanted to get ready for the NFL, and another guy it was disciplinary issues or not doing what they need to do.
Maybe kids changed today or something that, in the past 10 or 15 years that they didn't do that previously, or?
No, I don't think so. Just every now and then you have that.
Are your expectations the same from them? I mean, is it?
Our expectations have been very consistent for a good number of years, and it's produced quite a bit of consistency in how we've played as well. So.
Back to Dede, he seems, I realize he's a junior college guy, but he seems like the guy who incredibly benefited from a senior year of college football.
Those people still complaining about the junior college guys too that we signed?
I mean,
okay.
Here's a guy that used all his eligibility, and it's clearly paying off for him. Is he a guy you can hold up to some underclassmen and say, this potential is still out there for you?
Absolutely. I mean, And he's not the only one. There's multiple examples of guys who finished out their career and moved up the draft chart by how they've performed. And there's a bunch of guys that left early that aren't drafted or go way late that it's obvious that, it wasn't probably a very good financial decision. So I could put, 30 examples out there, 15 of each. So Didi's just another one in the line of it. Sterling Shepard was another one that the year before wasn't projected to be in the top 3 and goes middle of the second. So he made, guaranteed probably an extra $5-6 million by finishing. Sorry. Geez, you're going to keep cutting me off, or
I'm sorry.
trying to get a word in here.
You talked about Didi's ability to get behind defenses and make plays in traffic. It's hard to overthrow him, hard to underthrow him. How much more comfortable does that make a quarterback to be able to have a guy like that you can rely so much on in so many different situations?
Yeah, I'm sure. But, it makes a big difference to the quarterback. A guy that you can really trust. To go get the ball the way he does. For instance, the touchdown here against Baylor, where he puts it up when he's getting guys wrapping him up at his knees and he throws it up. Like, that's total trust that he's either going to get it or he's going to break it up, and he got it. So that's right there is a great example of it.
You mentioned last week the importance of playing on this last weekend for the committee, but how does that play into the Heisman race? I mean, I know you're trying to win a game, but you've also got a couple guys that are up for major awards.
Timing of everything, that's just the way it is. So be it. I can't control the timing of everything.
When you see film on James Washington, does he remind you of any of the receivers you've had or that you can compare him to?
He reminds me similar to the big play, strong guys they've had, at Oklahoma State, like Dez and, those guys that really were, not only, had that speed, but just had that physical presence to, just to shove you out of the way and get the football, just because of how physical their presence is.
Jordan Parker has played several games now, has his feet underneath him. How much better is he now than he was when he first had to go?
Jordan's made significant progress in everything, and in his understanding of what people are trying to do, and of offenses and where he needs to be, and even confidence to make plays. He's come a long way, really, for a guy that missed all of summer and all of our two-a-day sessions as well.
Mason Rudolph was hurt last year during your game, but as you compare him to what you've seen previously, is he better, and if so, in what ways?
Well, I thought he was really excellent a year ago, but even watching him here in these last several weeks, I think just very accurate. Throws a great deep ball. Really good with his reads, where he's going with the ball. I think he does an excellent job in all those categories.
Along with that, what kind of challenges come with trying to scheme for a guy that handles pressures and plays under pressure so well and can absorb that kind of contact?
So you're saying what's the question?
How do you specifically get ready and coach your defense to go against a guy like that?
Just like you do everybody. You got to keep, you're trying to pressure every quarterback you compete against, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And when you don't, you make sure you're covering guys and compete against them like we do everybody.
Bob, Jeff Mead had another touchdown against West Virginia. Are you starting to see him kind of turn that corner?
Yeah, definitely. The last several weeks, he had I believe a clutch third down. Was it third down when he tipped it to himself? I thought it was. So Jeff's made significant, plays here in the last few weeks that are, plays that really we needed, So I believe it's given him more and more confidence and, an ability to keep doing it.
We've seen the great plays from Didi on the field, but what stands out to you about his personality and then how he interacts maybe with his teammates?
Yeah, just his maturity. A guy that's really, has got great maturity about him and a great leadership and toughness on how he works and competes, to go with the maturity.
How has Mike handled some of the challenges of being defensive coordinator this year and getting some of these young guys to come along?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but he's done a really good job of working with them and helping them develop, get better. But he's not alone. I mean, none of us, Mike doesn't do it by himself. All those other guys are working hard at it and, are doing a good job bringing them along.
We ask you every October for tales about Texas, your memories of the Texas game. Seems we never ask you about.
You're on this Texas thing today.
No. I'm going with Oklahoma State. I want to spin it.
Keep your rug back to Texas.
I want to spin it for Oklahoma State. Do you have any Oklahoma State memories of the super competitive games?
You could have just started there.
Yeah, I know, but
all of them, they're all great.
What are some of your recollection? I mean, Blake Bell, for instance, with the little juke on the
Yeah,
goal
man,
line.
all of those, they're all. Anytime you play well and win, it's a positive. But that was one of the better ones, though. Blake being thrown in there when he hadn't been, and to perform like he did was really a pretty special night for him.
How soon after you took this job did you realize the importance of Bedlam in this state?
Bedlam, Nebraska, Texas, about everybody, right? When we show up, it's stadium's full and everybody's ready. So they were right there with everybody else.
Bob, you remember seeing much of Justice Hill during the recruiting process?
Yeah, really good player. So, yeah, we thought he was a really good player.
What stands out to you about him watching him now?
Just his consistency. He's running the ball well, making big plays, taking care of the football. Nice timing to holes. So.
What's the biggest difference you've seen in that running game? I mean, last year wasn't very good. This
Gaining
year,
a lot more yards. So I said it earlier, execution, blocking people and creating holes, and running backs finding the right holes and making big plays.
Well, their defense didn't play well down the stretch last season. And you guys lit them up pretty good. It appears they're playing much better down the stretch this season.
They're playing really good defense.
What's the difference?
Again, I go execution, tackling, covering people, getting pressure to quarterbacks, all of that gets down to their overall execution.
They've been good at turnovers, like you said, as well lately.
Yeah, turnovers are a big factor too.
How much has that energized you guys defensively?
It's made a big, it's definitely had a big factor in these last several games. It always is. To me, it's the most important statistic, I think, to keep track of.
Bob, can you identify any turning point this season? You lost 2 or 3 to begin the season. The rest haven't been easy, but you've won them all. Is there a thread that runs through all of this?
I think what I keep saying, overall improvement in execution and being able to, to execute our assignments and to make plays, just improvement on the practice field, competing against each other. I think more guys have just developed, and it's, like I said, it's been a challenge when the pieces keep moving due to so many different injuries, but the guys that have come in have gotten better and played more at a winning level. So, that's the biggest factor.
Was it any more challenging for them to push through between Ohio State and TCU, or was it just always there?
It's always there, just trying to improve and keep a positive mindset and confidence in what you're doing and trust it. And guys kept working it and got better.
Bob, if you win on Saturday, chances are very high that you're going to go Sugar Bowl. Be a pretty good favorite to win that game, I would guess. Would that benefit your program to win a New Year's Six Bowl, as opposed to, say, going to a playoff and taking your chances where you have to win 2 games and finishing the year with it?
Well, I'm just, again, those scenarios really don't matter to me. It's winning this game and then see where the chips fall. If you're asking me a year ago, would I have rather have had a chance a year ago to compete for the playoff and win a national championship, or go somewhere and win a bowl game? I'd go for the Final Four and have a chance at national championship every time.
Did you get more of a bounce from appearing in the playoff and losing to Clemson a year ago than you did beating Alabama in the Sugar 3
I believe it was looked at fairly equally, at least in my eyes, with recruiting and things of that nature, things that matter to me, and then that's just keep advancing the program. I think it was very similar.
In
Basketball, a Final Four appearance is a Final Four appearance. A lot of people don't differentiate between did you win a national title or not, just that you got there. Do you kind of see that going that way in football too?
Seems to be maybe a little bit, yeah, maybe more so than, than before.
Contact period in recruiting started yesterday. You
I
guys
know.
We're out there like crazy. But you're going to miss the rest of this week, of course, because of Bedlam.
No, I'm not. Don't be setting my schedule. I'm,
Is there a disadvantage to that, or is the bigger advantage having the OU brand there championship Saturday?
Yeah, listen, it's ongoing, man. You're hustling all the time, and we've got a fantastic, one of our best recruiting classes going, and we're going to do our best to reach them as much as we can, even some this week, and that's just part of it. Got to manage it with the game, and having extra time a week ago, I feel like we're in good shape with our game plan for this week, and so we'll manage it the best we can.
Bob, you got back into the national championship for the playoff hunt. You're going to need some help to get there. Whoever wins this game Saturday is going to need some help. If you win this game and don't make it, is the Big 12 championship a consolation prize? How much do you embrace it?
Never. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Big 12 championship is to me, it's always your primary goal to start with, because it's not easy to do, and I mean any conference champion. And it's that way when I was at Florida. That was where it all began. Same with K-State. To win that game was really special and never a consolation, and it's what everybody's striving for first. And then, if you can be a national championship beyond it, then sure, that just adds to it.
Bob, you bring in a lot of guys from out of state. Do you have to remind them or tell them how much this game means to everybody else?
No. Well, it's for the Big 12 championship, right?
I mean, just like Bedlam in general.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a top 10 team we're playing. What more do you need to say for the Big 12 championship? If I got to say more than that, I need to check the intellect of some of these guys. So, that's simple.
Jordan Evans is so important to you. You saw in the West Virginia game when he went out, how the defense devolved. If something happens to him, do you guys look at another scheme that you could possibly use, because the depth just isn't there?
I haven't seen many schemes without linebackers. So no, that's just you play the guys that we have, and that's what we'll do.
Is Ruben
but go ahead.
back in image though?
He and Curtis Bolton both.
You gonna be able to make it to Tulsa on Friday?
I'm going to go over for a period of time. Mm-hmm.
You predicting a winner of the game?
Let's stick to my team. Yeah. I got Texas, and now I'm getting drilled on high school games. So good. All right.